celebrate the two greatest apostles of the Catholic Church, Saint Peter and Saint Paul. Saint Peter, as we know, was the first pope of the church. He was conferred vicar of the church by Jesus Christ himself. So Jesus Christ put him in charge of his flock, of we, his sheep, right? And Saint Peter was among the first apostles that Jesus Christ called, the brother of Andrew. They were both fishermen. Jesus Christ called them. They left their skill and work and follow Jesus. If you read the Bible, you know a lot about Saint Peter, right? In as much as he wasn't a perfect person, so to say, right? But then he was very, very instrumental in the work of the mission, right? And for Saint Paul, his story started after the ascension of Christ. He was originally a persecutor of Christians, and on his way to Damascus to, persecute more Christians, he encountered Christ. Christ spoke to him in a vision, and he converted and became a great apostle. And so on the solemnity of SS.Peter and Paul, we consider the fact, or we observe how, despite the fact that these two men were of two different personalities, they were like of opposite worlds, yet we see how Christ or how God used them in the work of salvation. St. Peter was not educated, he didn't go to school, he was just an ordinary craftsman. He was a married man as well. He was also flawed in so many ways. If you read the Bible, you get to see that St. Peter wasn't a perfect person, so he wasn't a perfect figure. I mean, he's the only person that we know that denied Christ 3 times, right? And yet, Jesus Christ was still able to use him as an instrument for propagation of the gospel, for propagation of his word, right? He put him in charge of his people, in charge of the sheep, and received so many great things that St. Peter was able to do, right, as an apostle, right? And on the side of Paul, Paul was educated, he was single, but then he wasn't Christian initially, he was a persecutor, a great persecutor of Christians, right? But then we also see how Christ used him to bring salvation to his people. I think almost quite a number, or so many letters that we read in the New Testament was written by Saint Paul, right? So the aim of that celebration is to tell you that God does not call the perfect. If you think that you have to be in a certain type of way before God will use you to do his work, then you are joking, you are capping, right? Because no matter how you are, no matter whom you think you are, God can still use you for his work. He can still use you for the work of evangelization, okay? So he doesn't call the perfect, he doesn't call the qualified, but rather he qualifies those that he has chosen, okay? So this is what we celebrate on solemnity of Saint Peter and Saint Paul.